I think this was a good question because I think it illustrates something that's really important when you're trying to like answer difficult questions. Now, granted, I don't think this is actually related to like our Christian like beliefs necessarily. I think this is more just like talking about this word, right? So here's what you need to do whenever you're dealing with apologetics or like trying to defend your faith, or whenever you're trying to talk to somebody about your faith. You need to define your words. Okay, you need to define your words because even in our class, right? Even in our class where everybody is, or we're going to assume that like we know about Christianity, we know about Jesus, we know the gospel story. We're going to assume that. Okay, that's our premise for today. We all have different definitions of what a martyr is, right? And so when you're talking to somebody, I don't think it didn't sound like this was like a hostile environment. This sounded like a friendly conversation. I don't know. When this person asked, but I think that, you need to define your terms. Because see, like, when one of my friends asked for the definition of martyr, right? So that person was already asking for a definition, and then somebody just wanted to think of Jesus. Well, that doesn't really define what a martyr is. That might give an example, maybe, but like that doesn't like help me because Jesus is a lot of things. Okay, so I think that the answer depends on what your definition of a martyr is. Okay, I do. Now, granted, I would probably tend to lean more towards these guys because Jesus is our faith. He's not really a martyr. If he is a martyr, he would be like the first martyr to die for his own faith, I guess. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. But that, again, that's just like words, right? If we define a martyr as somebody that just dies for religion, then yeah, you could even fit that to Jesus too, because yeah, technically he died for like Christian religion, right? So you can say that too. You just need to define what you're talking about, and then you can establish common ground with people, right? And that's why when we interact, when I try to get you to say more stuff, right? When I'm trying to pull stuff out of you, I'm just really trying to get you to say what you think, right? Because I can't read your mind. Sometimes that can seem like it's hostile or that you're being like combative with somebody. And this is something I need to work on personally. It's not, you just want to elucidate that stuff out of that person to really know what they're talking about. Okay, so that's like apologetics for you. Okay, I know you guys like apologetics. I don't know why you like apologetics, but you need to be able to define your terms and then try to find common ground. Because once you can find common ground somewhere, then you can see, okay, why do we agree or do we not agree? And then you move on. So let me see. This is how I would establish common ground, okay, with somebody. I would be like, oh, well, let's look up what martyr is and let's see if we even agree with what that is. So I did. So I looked up martyr, right? A person who is killed because of their religious or other beliefs, okay? So is Jesus a person who was killed because of their religious or other beliefs? Yeah, he kind of was. Okay, he kind of was. Yeah, so that's where you can see that. Now here's where I would turn the tables on somebody. I'd be like, yeah, Jesus was killed, but then again, he wasn't like killed involuntarily either, right? When you think of a martyr, you would think of somebody like there's some people that are actively trying to kill this guy. It's not like that guy's trying to get killed, okay? But when you think of Jesus, Jesus also says that he lays down his life. Okay, so Jesus actively says, well, you know what? I'm going to not kill myself, but I'm going to allow myself to be murdered here for the sins of people, right? So that's where I think it gets muddy, and that's where I would turn the tables on the person who was asking me, and I would use that opportunity to be like, well, let me tell you about what Jesus actually did, Because some people just think that, oh, Jesus is a teacher or just like a normal person who got convoluted to be some like spiritual figure or who claims to be God. But if the person that you're talking to doesn't actually know who Jesus is, you have an opportunity to start saying, well, let me tell you what I read in the Bible about who Jesus is. And then you can start defining what a martyr is. And so here's some verses where I would be like, well, if you think Jesus is a martyr or whether he's not, this is what Jesus says himself. In John 10, he says, for this reason, the Father loves me because I lay down my life that I may take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down of my own accord. I have authority to lay it down, and I have authority to take it up again. So I would say, I don't think I would consider that a martyr. I'd consider that Jesus being the Son of God dying on the cross for your sins. That's how I would say. Right? But, that's just moving into a different area now and pushing the conversation a different way. And this is what's difficult for me, right? Because this is just my personality. Sometimes I just like to argue and just go back and forth and see what people think. But if you're really trying to push, evangelism, push faith forward, you have to do it in a wise way where you can present truth, present the view that you have, and do it in a way that's not objectable, right? This is what Jesus says himself. So it's not even what I think or what I believe. This is straight from the Bible. And that's where you start to talk to people. Here's another one. Not only can you just talk about being a martyr, you can actually say, oh, well, actually, Jesus says that, he laid down his life, but he does expect his followers to be martyrs. So it is actually appropriate that you go and associate Jesus with that. Let me take that back. Jesus does not expect his followers to be martyrs. That was wrong. Okay, Jesus expects you to be able to be bold enough in your faith and be willing enough for your faith that if somebody were to threaten your life with it, you'd be like, yeah, Jesus is worth it. Okay, so he doesn't expect us to go on and, be martyred. Okay, but it could happen. It could happen. This is what Jesus says, right? Blessed are you when others revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. So this is Jesus talking, right? And so here, you could say, yeah, if you want to call Jesus a martyr, or if you don't, that's fine. But Jesus does expect his followers to, be persecuted and be reviled and be talked about wrongly on his account. So Jesus knows that people will not like him and they will not like his followers. So I don't know if this answers the question. I would say it comes down to words.